That's why I see Mark over at SCA, he keeps saying to me, will I come down and lecture over there? And I keep saying, what's in it for me? Tell me why.
Get four nice blokes like us. Yeah.
but get your students, treat it like an advertising problem. Your job is to get your students to talk me into it, to do something, talk me into it. And nobody ever has. And I said, that's the proof of it. All you actually want me to do is me to come over and talk while everybody sits there and does nothing. If you're going to be in advertising, if you really want me to come, you'll make the effort to talk me into it. If you don't make the effort, it means you don't really want me to come, so I shouldn't waste my time. That's a result. Or it also means you're not going to listen to what I say. So that's a result. But either way, I shouldn't come. If you actually want me to come, you'll pull finger and do something. Or it means you're not good enough to appreciate what... But, you know, this is a project. Everything in life's a fucking project now. If you want a raise, if you want a different job, it's a project. We're in advertising now. What we do is change people's opinions. We talk people into what we want. How do you do that? Someone once said... I saw something recently that's really true. They said, what gets you in the Hall of Fame when you're old is the stuff that got you fired when you were young. And I promise you that's my experience. John should have fired me 3 times over, and he never did. But you know, if you look at Tony Kaye or Graham Fink or any of those, Charlie Saatchi, any of those guys, especially Paul Arden, you know, you if you spend all your time not getting fired, you slow down to the speed at which you won't get fired. And what your truth is, you may as well have worked in a dull job instead. This could be the most exciting fucking job there is if you want to. But if you sit down and wait to just follow the rules, it's just another dull job. There are no rules here unless you want to observe the rules. This isn't banking. This isn't civil service. What there is getting a result. If your creative director tells you not to do it and you go anyway and get a D&AD gold, your creative director is not going to fire you. And even if he does, so fucking what? If your creative director tells you not to do it and you go out and it puts sales up 30%, he's not going to fire you. And even if he does, so fucking what? There'll be a queue of people waiting to hire you. There's not another job, well, there may be some other media jobs, where you can do that. Where you can be so fucking outrageous, and even if you get fired, it's a result. The Sex Pistols. How can you write bollocks on your LP and get away with it? What you know, that's got to be the whole fun. My generation, it was taken for granted that's what you do. And I thought all young kids subsequently would be like that. But this generation isn't. It's a generation of bank managers. You know? And it's like a frightened generation. But they don't know what they're frightened of. What are you frightened of? There's nothing to be frightened of. You've got less to be frightened of than we had, and we weren't frightened. We thought, this is fucking right. We were like we'd been let out of the cage. They can't take anything away from you. What are they going to do? Come and take all your schooling and your middle class upbringing and your money and your parents away? They can't do that. There's nothing they can take away from you. All that can happen is 30 years from now you're going to wish you'd done it. And you're going to look back and say, I don't know why I didn't. You know? When George Bernard Shaw said, when I die I want to be totally used up. What he's saying is, I don't want them to bury any unused part. You don't get a refund on the unused part. When you're dead, you're dead. And if you've only used that much and all that part's unused, they still bury it. Really, they used to have a saying when I was a kid in the playground, which is use it or lose it. It doesn't come back again. You get one chance to use it, and if you don't, it's gone. And truthfully, more than anything else at school, that's what annoys me about advertising colleges. More than anything else, that's what they ought to teach you. To be scared shitless of not, to be more scared of to be more scared of wasting opportunities than you are of embarrassment. If you're English and you're middle class, your two biggest worries are embarrassment. I promise you, I got two English middle class kids. It's true. Well, my greatest thing that happened to me was going to New York. And then I put what I learned in East London together with what I learned in New York, and it's just called street smarts, but it's actually creativity. Creativity. That's just street smarts. But mainly, don't waste a fucking second. Don't hang on to anything. Do it, there'll be another one along. Do it, don't worry. Don't think about doing it, do it. And that's the one thing you should teach kids at art school, is the terror of not doing it. To be scared shitless of not doing it. You know, the guy I work with, Gordon, he says what he wants on his gravestone is it's better to regret what you have done than what you haven't. And I think that's I mean, you know, he's come close to it, attempted murder charges and stuff like that. We've had to, you know, walk the line very carefully with Gord. But you know, like you're alive, man. You're using your time on the planet. You're not holding on carefully and making sure nothing goes wrong. Yeah, if you're English, you're already. John Cleese said the goal of every Englishman is to get to his grave unembarrassed. And that's, if you're middle class, that's doubly true. You know, you got. But now you know that, you can fight against that, and realise that actually, when you fuck it up, when you get embarrassed, that's a victory over being English and middle class. Yeah. That's a victory over being dead. When you're embarrassed to fuck and that's actually, yeah, that's what it feels like being alive. Yeah? And that's what, if Mark would teach that, you wouldn't have 30 people sitting around with their thumb up their arse wanting me to come and talk but not doing anything about it. Yeah? You'd actually have some kids thinking, I'm not going to waste this fucking year. Yeah. Once this year's gone, it's no good afterwards. As a student, you can ask for loads of stuff that you won't be able to ask for afterwards. But you don't know that until afterwards. When you get out and try asking, nobody gives a shit. They won't pick up your phone call. When you're there and you call as a representative of the SCA or Watford or whatever, people will pick up the phone. But you don't know that until it's too late. Now, you can spend the next few years learning what it's like to be too late, and you can let that change your behaviour, or you can just carry on spending the next 35 years learning what it feels like to be too late. You know, but when it's gone for good. And when you know that, it's like Steve Jobs says, there is nothing that will light a fire under your creativity like knowing that you're soon going to be dead. You know, have you read Steve Jobs' book?
Yeah.
That's that Isaacson one, yeah? Best fucking book I've read in 2 decades. That's a creative guy. You look at this, there's so many great ideas in that book, and the way he did it. You know? And you learn from him. He has exactly the same attitude as George Lois, who was one of my heroes in New York. George Lois used to, when I was at art school there, George Lois used to say, don't show me your drawfuls of great roughs. If it don't run, it ain't advertising. So what you do is you get it to run. Whatever it took to get it to run. Don't trust your fucking career to some account man or some planner. This is your career. This is bigger than pissballing around waiting while some university bloke decides whether or not he's going to take it to the client. Yeah?